I don't know why anybody wants to move to Lagos, Shabo.
So you also agree?
If I was in Lagos, I'd probably be paid more because everybody could hire me. I was just moving from one job to another job to another job to another job to another job.
Oh.
I try to just be by myself.
So this is basically the evolution phase,
Yeah,
and
so
I was graced with it. Oh my God. Do you agree now that the city doesn't have as much opportunities as Lagos does? Or do you feel that Abuja creatives are not creating more opportunities for themselves to build up their portfolio?
Because it is that consistent application that you become a master at it. It is that consistent application that you become confident in your skill. At the end of the day, the story will not be that, oh, he was the best mobile videographer or the best content creator guy in Abuja. I will prepare a story that says that, oh, because this guy was doing this thing and I met up with him, I also became this or that thing.
What's good, Abuja? Welcome back to another episode of The Baz, the Becoming a Star show. And I am Queer Francis, but you can call me Cuckoo, and I am a host for this show. This is where we spotlight the creatives that are shaping the city. And today we brought in someone that represents what this show is all about. I'm talking creativity, consistency. I'm talking putting Abuja on the map. And this person is one of a kind because his name is actually one of a kind. You've never heard it anyway. Let's bet. He is someone that is a mobile videographer. He also has 1,001 things going on. I mean, he's just like the Superman of our time here in Abuja. And this person is no other than Djiame. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
How are you doing and how do you feel?
Good. Excited.
How do you feel being here, rather?
Excited. I've not done too many podcasts. I think I'm enjoying the experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when you heard the name The Baz, what came to your mind?
I don't know. I thought about music. I wasn't sure if it was a typographical error. I thought it was supposed to be The Boss. The Baz.
But that would have actually made a lot of sense, The Boss. Because, I mean, there's you in tuxedo.
I know, but then I wasn't really sure. I didn't want to ask. I just wanted to come and see. So, yeah.
So, did this push your mind?
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed.
Oh my goodness! So basically, The Baz, the Becoming a Star show, is where the creatives of Abuja basically come here to like air out their voice, talk about challenges, wins, and then also the main focus and the sole purpose of this show is basically talking about how we as Abuja creatives can, make our community stronger and make the ecosystem really friendly for creatives. Because one very big misconception, rather, is the fact that, a lot of Abuja people move to Lagos, to find...
I don't know why anybody wants to move to Lagos, Shabo.
So you also agree?
I can't survive in Lagos.
Have you ever been to Lagos?
Sorry?
Have you ever been to Lagos?
I just came back from Lagos on Friday or so.
So what is different about Lagos that you would rather be here over Lagos?
One, I think my mental health.
Valid.
Then I also think that I don't know how people do it really in Lagos, but I feel like they probably, when you're born into a system, over time you sort of adapt and all that stuff. Yeah, but so for people like us that are from out of the water and now bring us into the water.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going from point A to point B and I have to be in traffic for hours. Then if I'm not in traffic, the driver is driving in such a way that you feel like you're in a Formula One race. So you leave home or you leave your office, wherever, and you get to the location and you're already tired and stressed. You already have a headache. So it's just crazy. So I don't know how it, but I think it also it helps with their brain processing power and creativity because, so when I go to Lagos, I sort of have, moving around, I sort of have like a lot of ideas and all that stuff because I think the space sort of just allow your mind and your brain go haywire. So Lagos now.
So since we are still on the Lagos gist, right? Before we move into you properly, A lot of people say that, in fact, a lot of Abuja creatives say that Lagos creatives are being paid more, they're being respected more than that of Abuja. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I don't know
Do you agree?
about being paid more.
Yeah.
But if I was in Lagos, I'd probably be paid more because the stress is like times 10. So I would want something commensurate to the stress level. But about being paid more, I'm not, well, I don't really agree. I don't feel like location is
Factor.
a factor for pricing and for what you're paid. I don't think so.
So you only believe that Lagos people are being paid more because, well, they have to stay in traffic for like 12 hours to
No,
get
not
to
really. Well,
education.
so the thing is, I feel like, one, a lot of businesses that have the muscle, financial muscle to pay what we'll say creatives deserve,
Yeah.
a lot of them are in Lagos. So you have a lot of corporations, multinational organizations, and all of those guys headquartered in Lagos. So it's if you're going to strike a business, if you're going to strike a deal, it's easier to work with someone that is within that territory. So if, for example, Dangote is going to hire a videographer, he'll probably want to find someone around Lagos where you can have meetings with
Yeah.
executives and all that stuff. So maybe that's why it would seem like they're paid more because they have access to the guys that are at the top of the table. So maybe
But then we
that'll be the
also have
reason.
guys here that are at the top of the table. But I think one time I overheard someone saying that these people are already used to Lagos market. And then a person now that's a very influential person right now that has something to do in Abuja, right, would rather fly in a Lagos creative down here to come and do the PR, to come and, cover the events and all of that. How has that made you feel as an Abuja creative generally?
Well, so I think it really depends. If I worked with someone before, so for example, I worked with someone in Lagos and the person delivered on the job, and I'm in Abuja and I need someone to deliver. Yeah, chances are that I'll bring in a person that rather than take a chance on someone that is new, I'd rather bring in someone that I know has delivered before and has a track record, a history of delivery.
Yeah.
Right. So that'll probably be a reason. It's the same way I go to Lagos. I go to Lagos a lot. Right. And I go to Lagos because it's not because they don't have people that do what I do. Right. But because the people I've worked with understand that you don't need to do too much to get this guy to deliver. And you're sure that when you bring him in, he's going to deliver excellently. Right. So I think that's just what the factor is. So, like I said, I don't think location is necessarily. I know guys in Kano that deliver excellently. Yeah, right. So, I mean, it's just really a matter of preference. The only thing I would say is that, you see, Abuja is maybe because of the tempo of the city
Yeah.
and the way the city is structured. It's structured. One is chill. Then you have a lot of government agencies. Abuja is mostly Abuja. Well, I think they call it Abuja money. Is mostly tied around government contracts.
Yeah.
And businesses that revolve around government and government contracts here. Compared to Lagos, Lagos is a heavy private sector driven city. So you have a lot of businesses. I was telling someone a couple of days ago that if I was in Lagos, right, and with what I do, I don't need to be jumping around. I can just pick a street in Lagos. And well, from my observation, when I go to Lagos, I also noticed that on one street you can have like 40 businesses from the beginning, number one on the street to the end is all businesses. So I don't need to do too much. I just need to call myself, oh, I'm the number one Zumba Wadiwe street content creator.
Yeah.
So my own
Niche now
niche
is
is just
there.
this street. So all the business owners in this street know that I'm the content creator for this street. So I don't need to do too much. If you need a content creator, you don't need to call someone that will tell you I'm in traffic.
Yeah.
You just know that I'm the guy next door on the street. And my business is built on that, right?
Yeah.
So I think all these things are just really
That
the
makes a lot
factors.
of sense. So to
Yeah.
you just believe that it is based off of the people and not
Yes.
the city.
Yes. Then I also maybe the other factor too will be that because you have, like I said before, you have all these corporations and organizations in Lagos
Yeah.
that do these things. So you find people that have done it over and over and over, that have a very broad portfolio, right? And I've executed the projects like multiple times because, like I said, Abuja is a chill city. A lot of things go on in Lagos.
Yeah.
I went for an event at Echo Hotel, and I saw another organization was having a one-day event. But if you see the decor, the amount of work, the architecture, the design, event design that was put into that one-day event,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I didn't believe that it was going to be a one-day event. I didn't believe that you put in that much work for just a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And then you tear down after those hours. Right. So, and those things happen consistently in Lagos. So you have creatives in Lagos that have done all these things over and over and over and over. Compared to Abuja, that is very chill. You just have one event there, one event here, one event here.
Yeah.
So I think that's also a factor in a way. Right. So you want to also hire someone that has a broad, an excellent portfolio that meets your need. And you find a lot of that in Lagos compared to
So do you agree now that the city doesn't have as much opportunities as Lagos does? Or do you feel that Abuja creatives are not creating more opportunities for themselves to build up their portfolio?
So what I'm saying is because I don't want to be judgmental in my in my response, right? So so I think in recent times,
Yeah.
because of what I do, I've come to realize that there are actually events in Abuja, right? But then there are a lot of other factors around it. I wouldn't say there are no opportunities, right? Even though compared to Lagos, I mean, we have more opportunities in Lagos because there's also always one thing or the other happening,
Yeah.
right? Well, compared to Lagos, I would say yeah, the opportunities are way less, right? In terms of the magnitude of the event too, and the scale of the event, I think Lagos is also on top. And because there's that issue with magnitude, then in terms of delivery and what is seen, post-produced and seen as delivery, you have more weight with stuff that happens in Lagos and Abuja. I think that's really what it is. I wouldn't say that Lagos people are more creative than Abuja people, if that's what the question is trying to insinuate. I won't say that. I'll just say that the opportunities to showcase your skill at certain levels is not necessarily available.
So it's about the city now and not the people.
Yeah, so I think it's about the city.
But then I believe
It's
that
about-
this is where collaboration comes in, and which brings me to my next question. Because like one other misconception, rather, I'm just going to keep it a misconception right now, is that a lot of Abuja people form. And then collaboration is now quite really difficult. Do you get? So do you agree with that? And do you agree that maybe this is the reason as to why there are little opportunities? Because like if I perceive you as someone that form now, do you get? I wouldn't want to bring you on board to like something that I'm trying to cook up. Do you get? And that is like a minus on your side. And on my own part too, it's also a minus, truthfully, because now I don't get to experience you and what you have to bring, do you get, to this creative space for me. Do you get? So do you also agree that now Abuja people are the problem?
Well, so for me, right? Unfortunately, I don't go out a lot. I'm now trying to. So when I see opportunities to be out and to hang out with Abuja creatives and all that stuff, I do my best to go. But before now, I never used to. But forming, yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know. Maybe I think they actually form, really. But it's not necessarily for me. I think it's just because when I go for events and I meet people, I think it's just one person, one of the two persons interacting or that meet each other or whatever. It just requires one person to take the initiative and just break the ice.
Yeah.
And when you sort of, even if it's a handshake or introduce yourself, then you realize that it's not necessarily forming by just looking at each other like, yeah, I'm here.
With our
So in my mind,
thoughts.
yeah, exactly. So I might be thinking, oh, you are forming. You might be thinking I'm forming. But once we shake hands, then you realize that, nobody was actually forming. It's just sort of
Truthfully,
like a misconception.
I agree that you don't go out a lot. Do you know why?
Why?
Because like every other person that sat down where you're sitting
Yeah.
had their own fair share of the forming thingy. I mean, approach someone and then it's like,
Well, I don't know whether that's worked for me yet.
I mean, you're one of the lucky people.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's also because when I meet people, I don't meet them with that ideology, with that expectation behind me. I don't meet people with that. Yeah. Because a lot of times when I meet people, actually when I'm even checking you out, I'm checking out what gadget are you using, what's your workflow, how you coordinate and all that stuff. So that's what I'm actually looking out for. I'm not necessarily looking out for whether we need to become guys or we need to become friends, even though it comes up, right? But I'm looking to sort of learn from you rather than so I can even my organ, all that stuff. I just if you want to be the organ, no problem, but it doesn't matter to me. But I don't really relate with that. Well,
Okay, now let's come down to you. Because I mean, you're here.
Yeah.
You're a star to be here. We're coming star show and we're bringing in stars. I'm in. So like, when did you start mobile videography?
Well, so mobile videography, I think I said after COVID.
Do you know I expected you to say something about COVID? Because everybody came here and was like, oh, during COVID, that's when I found my path. During COVID, that's when... And in my head, I'm like, why was I now just chilling at home? Do you get?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, take me through that journey.
So during COVID, right? There was this limitation with worship.
Yeah.
That's what church worship. So, and I used to serve in the media department in my church. So we needed to come in to church from time to time, like twice or so every week, to record my pastor and prayer sessions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And because it was COVID too, I think a lot of churches were doing that, right? So, so when I go online, I go on social media, I go on Instagram, I see what I saw at the time, what other churches were doing in terms of videos and content that they're putting out and all that stuff. And I just felt like, let's try and match these guys with what. So that's how the interest really developed. Post-COVID, I got an opportunity to work in a hotel as a social media manager. So, and because I was a social media manager, I required that I make videos.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I started making videos with my mobile because so what I missed out was I was a graphic designer. Right. So I had done some designs for the hotel and they said, oh, if you can do designs, that means you can run social media and all that stuff. So that's how they hired me as their social media manager.
Yeah.
So that's how I also required that I make videos for the hotel. And that's how I started. But when I was doing all that, I wasn't really a social media person at the time. So I wasn't putting on my work on social media. I was just doing them and keeping them. But I now got another opportunity. I was called in for another opportunity. And the person said, oh, when I was done with shooting the video and all that stuff, the person now said, oh, that there were 3 of you that were put on the table for a selection. And we chose you. But the challenge was that we couldn't find your work anywhere.
Yeah.
So the guy said, well, why don't you open an Instagram account and put off your stuff? Not like I didn't know, but because I wasn't a social media person, so I didn't really care.
Yeah.
And I didn't really see, at the time, I wasn't looking at the skill as a business in a way. I was just excited to do it, and I felt it was easy to do and all that stuff. So I went online, so I checked. That's when I went to check for mobile videographers in Abuja and content creators. So I was going through Instagram, and I saw that. So people were using the hashtag Abuja Content Creator, hashtag Abuja, and they make their videos. So I just, okay, let me check if that handle is actually available. Yes, an actual Abuja Content
Yeah.
Creator. And when I checked, I didn't see nobody had taken it. So that's how,
You milked the situation.
yeah, that's how it fell on me.
No, you milked
Oh, I
it.
fell on it. Right. So that's how I picked the handle. And from there, I think things started scaling. People said I was good with it because they felt my style was different, and they felt the videos were very exciting to watch and all that stuff. And that's how it really just picked up.
So at what point did you feel like this thing is for me? At what point did you feel like, oh, you had your audience, to a certain level? Because I saw on your page actually that you went from, casual content creation to like even politics, and all of that. So like, how did you land on that first off? And then at what point were you like, it's like this thing I'm doing, I have a hang of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the point I realized that I was really into it was, so at the time I used to charge a certain fee
Yeah.
that was kind of low, and I realized that I was extremely busy. So
It's like busy doing nothing.
busy shooting. So because my price mark was so low, so everybody could hire me.
Yeah.
So and because everybody could hire me, I was just moving from one job to another 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 job. So that's when I realized that, oh, it's like this thing is some serious stuff,
Yeah.
right? And because I also didn't want to be, even though, well, it was money, they say compound interest, so it's a lot of money, a lot of small money coming together to make big money.
Yeah.
But then I also understood that it could be less work
Big money.
and big money. Yeah. So at the point I realized that, oh, it was sort of my thing, and was when I realized that, oh, I was getting a lot of inquiry and a lot of clients to do stuff. And that's how really I just started scaling it and scaling it. So two things. I think one was the consistency. Then two was that it was always excellent. So for every time I make a video, it is back to back excellence. And I think because people could trust the fact that there was consistency in excellence,
Yeah.
that was how it started growing. Then I also started getting a lot of inquiries from fellow videographers, fellow mobile videographers, from business owners and all that stuff. Then, so that now drove me into, so I run a training called Reels 101.
Called what?
Reels 101.
Reels 101.
Yeah, so that drove me into Reels 101. I think with that course, because a lot of people have seen me on Instagram and all that stuff, so in a way, I think probably popularity grew. And because, you see, people that do content in Abuja, it's like 95%. I would say 99, but that would be too much. So I would say 98.9.
Yeah, a lot of them.
So a lot of them do weddings,
Yeah.
they do events and all that stuff, right? So I think really how I even got into that space was with regular events. So I was doing birthday parties and all that stuff. And with that, I now met, because with social events, they call them event planners, event decorators, or corporate events, they call them event producers, right? So that's how I'm doing all that stuff. They're also doing stuff for my church. I think one of the big breaks that was big was when TJX came into Nigeria with his daughter and her husband. Yeah, so I was flown to Lagos to do the reels for them and all that stuff. And because TJX is a global figure, so that material was stuff that sort of put me
On the market.
that just shut me up all the way up. So when I meet people and they say, "Well, what have you done before?" I don't talk too much. I
You just
pull
carry
up
the
the video.
video.
I just say, "Well, I've seen this video before." That's all.
So
Right,
do you think there was any unique thing that made people be like, this is my guy?
Yeah, so I think it's the consistency in delivery. That's what I would like to think. Because, I mean, for every video, you see that the standard is not dropping.
Yeah.
You see that it's always excellently done, right? So I think that's what people like to trust. That's where people place their trust in consistency and in the fact that I don't need to talk too much to get this thing to where I want it to be or to meet my expectation.
Yeah.
I don't need to chase this guy to get my video and stuff like that. So just like general package.
So at what point did you start political videography?
So it's not necessarily political, it's just government events.
Yeah, okay.
So like I said,
But we're
because
heading to the main political zone
yeah,
because
we're getting into that season. Right. So I think because so one of the things I decided along the line
yeah.
after a few years in doing this was I didn't want to do weddings.
Why?
Yeah, because I just feel like it's unnecessarily stressful. I'm sorry.
Understandable.
Yeah, so I'd rather do something that is less stressful and be excellent at it. So while some people have decided that, their niche is weddings, I decided my niche wasn't going to be weddings, it was going to be corporate events.
Yeah.
Even though I do other things, I do interior, I do architecture, I do construction projects and all that stuff. But I wanted to be seen as the corporate event guy because, should I even say because? Well, because why? Well, this is a podcast. I don't know how far to go, but I just feel like it's better pay when you do corporate events than even when you do weddings and all these things. So I just say, so if I do a scale of preference or a scale of priority on what will bring me more money,
More income. Yeah.
and what I should see as most relevant, I'll say corporate events was on top of that table. So that's why I said to go in, right? And I started doing it. I think it's been very good. I think one of the other factors too that I now had to develop along the line was speed, because with content creation, a very, very major factor is speed in delivery. And so I do corporate events and I'm able to deliver videos before the end of the event. So I can come for your event and before the vote of thanks for the event, they'll play the video for the day.
Damn, that's like super fast.
Yeah. So that's sort of one of my very main unique selling points.
Rather.
Yeah, at the moment. So and all these things we're built with consistency and excellence and all that stuff. So I mean, so if you ask me, I think I got in this space because of the money.
Okay, so like,
and it was easier to
a
easier.
lot of people say stuff that, rather I'll use the guest that came on set, right? They always said, they all said something in common. They're like, one thing that creatives generally try to skip in the process is serving before coming to the financial part, although it is really important. What do you have to say about that?
So I think it's important that you serve. It is very, in fact, if you're really going to go far in anything at all,
Yeah.
You don't go far because you like the money. You go far because you enjoy
What you're doing.
serving, right? And enjoy the service. And why service is really important is because, well, I won't say that you shouldn't get paid for what you do and all that stuff. I tell people when I meet them, there are 3 reasons why I do a job, any job at all. 1 is the pay. 2 is the exposure. Even though people say don't work for exposure. 2 is the exposure. 3 is that it's a challenge. So, like I said, even though I want to be known as the corporate event guy, I do other things, right? And I do those other things because, especially if it's something I've not done before, apart from weddings, I'm more inclined to doing just for the sake of pushing myself through that challenge, right? And so, in that sense, a lot of the projects I take on for that reason are just based off service.
Yeah.
So it's me serving, I'm putting out. Because something that's very important in learning any skill is practice, right? So if you want to wait to get paid every time you use your skill, then you're never really going to be good at it. Right? So you need to create avenues where you apply the skill and you practice. So, for example, like when people meet me and they say, oh, like when Christians meet me and they say, oh, I want to learn this tonight. I ask you, okay, what department do you serve in church? Because if you serve in a media department in your church, it's an opportunity for you to apply your skill.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for you to practice. And it's practice that makes excellent. So apart from making money, you need to create a system that allows you apply your skill consistently, because it is that consistent application that you become a master at it. It is that consistent application that you become confident in your skill, right? If you go to hang out with your friends and you make a video of the hangout, right? Then I call you tomorrow and I say, I want to pay you to make a video for my hangout. You'll be confident enough to do it for me because you've done it with your friends.
Yes.
You know what to work, you know what won't work, and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
So I think service is really key. And it's in the place of service that once you build your skill in the place of service, money will find you. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
Money will definitely find you.
So how can you say that this city has shaped you in your mobile photography? What do we call it now? How would you say this city has shaped you while being a mobile photo videographer?
So I think one is that it's a chill city. So that helps me be chill. When I apply to my mobile graphic, I think that's afforded me like a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities. Something that I also find very key in my journey so far is referral. Word of mouth referral. So I think this city has, because in Abuja, you realize that one person knows another person, that knows another person, that knows another person. And that's how if it was happening here. Yeah, in front of someone that's important.
Someone came here and said that like the best kind of money you can make, honestly, like as a creative, is from referral.
Yes.
How has that worked?
You know
for
why?
you? Why?
So, when I was speaking before, I said when I started out in my early phase,
Yeah.
I had a low benchmark, pricing benchmark, right? So what I realized was when I wanted to move up, and every time I've moved up, if you call me and say, oh, you want me to make a video for you, and I tell you I charge 40K, and maybe prior to your call, I was charging 25K. If you pay me that 40K, I've moved up. Because
like automatically from one client.
Yes, because a lot of the business I do is based on referral. So you that has paid me 40K, if you're going to refer me to another person, you refer me to another person that will also pay me 40K.
Yes.
Right. So that's how
helps
scaling sort of happened. Yeah. So if one event planner or event producer reaches out to me and I say, oh, I charge 1 million naira, right? If the person is going to refer me to another person, the person is not going to come and price me cheaper than 1 million naira, right? And so that's how I think referral has also helped in a way to scale my business.
Say, let's keep referral one side. How would you say keeping relationships?
Yeah,
Also
so relationship is very key.
that.
Very, very. You see, business is built on people. But in terms of structure, in terms of clientele, the reason why anyone will refer you at all is because they feel like you might even be good at a skill, you might be excellent at a skill, but your human relationship and people management might be very faulty. And nobody wants to work with someone that they would rather hire someone that makes them feel good in terms of relationship than someone that will give you an excellent video but has a very trashy.
Do you think Abuja creatives have that?
So like I said, I'm not I think to dodge your question, I don't really interact with a lot of people. So
if you don't interact with a lot of people, how then do you have relationships?
Yeah, so I have relationships around
your church.
Not necessarily even around my church, around what I do on Instagram. So a lot of people know me on Instagram as Abuja Content Creator. So I interact with them on that level. So they send me DMs, I reply, we chat, we won't get on WhatsApp, we interact, we do all that chatting, but they never really see me.
Oh, okay. I think I get where this is
going.
Yeah,
so the same thing with clients too. I chat with a lot of them. Except if you now hire me and say, oh, come in now to pay you. Yeah, that's when I'll see physically. But before that,
Okay,
it can
so
be
you
very
keep healthy relationships online.
online and offline.
No, that's basically what you just said in
I
another
have, yeah,
word.
so I have healthy relationships online. Then when we meet offline, I also try to make sure that relationship is very good.
So aside from say a client coming to meet you, like access to you from clients, right? Would you also say that you're accessible to at least let's say to like a certain amount to like other creatives that are looking up to you?
I'm accessible to everybody. I try to make sure I'm accessible to everybody. I do my best to make sure I'm accessible. I've had Wheels 101 maybe like 16 times.
Wow.
And if I had it 16 times, that's at least maybe 220 people.
Dang, that's a lot.
Yeah. So, and all of them have access to me. Beyond Reels 101, everybody that follows me on Instagram that has reached out to me, I don't think anybody will say I've not responded. Even though, I might not have totally met their needs and all that stuff, but at least I do my best to respond. If it's something I feel like is a genuine question, and especially for people that are trying to grow and try to build their path in this course, I do my best to be available. It's part of something that it's really something I'm really passionate about.
So accessibility for you now, is it because you're trying to help to make this ecosystem, a bit conducive, or is to make yourself feel good?
Yeah, so the reason why, right, is because I understand how my journey started.
How did your journey start?
Yeah, because at the time when I started, I didn't have anybody to speak with. I didn't speak with anybody. I didn't talk to I didn't know anybody I could reach out to.
Okay.
Or that was willing to sort of guide me in a way.
So how did you now find your feet?
Yes, I found my feet by trying to find my feet.
That hasn't answered the question though.
Well,
I want you to just take me through your journey a bit. We can't go into it in depth, but like I want to know how.
Okay. So this is the thing. So when I started, right? So this is how I learned, or how I learned really, is that so there's social media, there's YouTube and all that stuff. You have access to an unquantifiable amount of data and information, right? So I learned by watching other people's videos, not necessarily mobile videographers, just general videographers, right? And like I told you, during COVID, I was checking out other churches, and a lot of them were not Nigerian churches, they were international churches, right? And I could see what they were doing. Now, I learned by observation, right? So what I did then was that if I see a video that I like, if the video is 90 seconds, for example, I download the video, I put it in an editing app, maybe CapCut, and I slow the video down to maybe like 4 minutes. Then I watch the video in slow-mo. So when I watch it in slow-mo, I observe, right? So there are different things that make up a video. This is not a Reels class, but it might seem like one very soon. There are 4 things that make up a video. There's movement, angle, shots, and composition.
Movement, angle, shots, composition.
Yes. So when I watch the videos in that slow-mo, those are things I observe, right? I look out for those things. So I look out for what type of movement, what type of angle, what type of shot, what type of composition, right? So that's how. And it was in doing all of that stuff that I learned that in terms of skill. Also, and because, the way the brain works is like a memory card. When you see something, 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 you see something. If I give you a device and I say, okay, do this, what is going to come out of you? The Bible says that from the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. It's what you've stored in your mind that you now try to do. Yes. So, so that's how my learning happened, really, in a way. Yeah, because I've also done it over time, and because I also sort of run a couple of other businesses, I already understand how business, in a way, in the creative space works, right? So when I started doing content creation, mobile videography, I sort of applied that same knowledge in a way and tweaked it a bit, and that's how I was able to grow in it. So in a way, I've not gotten to the peak. I won't say I'm at the peak. I'm still in the process. But between that time and now, I know I've made tremendous progress. So when I meet people that are also just starting out, I'm not, for what I do, I'm not even necessarily trying to be the best in a way.
Yeah.
I know my like I told you, I know my strong points. I know points that apply in my service that a lot of people find difficult to get to, right? And before you even get to that point, you need to have traveled quite a while. So I'm not trying to, right? So I basically just try to help as much because at the end of the day, the story will not be that, oh, he was the best mobile videographer or the best content creator guy in Abuja. I would prefer a story that says that, oh, because this guy was doing this thing and I met up with him, I also became this other thing.
Just about impact.
Impact, yes. So
That's really
a better
beautiful.
story. Yeah.
So like what is, I want you to just give me two answers, right, to these two questions I'm about to ask you right before we wrap this up.
Hopefully.
Right?
So
Please try to not do this because you like to dodge questions. Try to not do that. Okay, so like, what is one high point about your job and one low point about your job?
So high points about my job. So high points in what sense?
Like, what is the best thing about it?
So the best thing,
And then the worst thing that you've had to experience?
So I think the best thing for me is that, so what I'm about to say is it's not to, you see, this thing that I do is big business. It is also very quick money.
Damn. Should I
Right?
start?
So I think that's the best.
Will you
So
teach me?
I think the best thing is that it is quick money.
Will you teach me?
Yeah, I think I can teach you.
So
There are
like now,
differences.
wait. Am I speaking with a billionaire?
No, I'm not a billionaire.
Are you being modest? Are you trying to be
No, I'm not
modest?
trying to be modest. I'm not a billionaire. Forget it. If I was a billionaire, you know.
Okay, go ahead. Please.
So there are different. So recently I was doing some reflecting. I realized that okay, so this thing I do, right? It affords me different things. So one, it affords me the opportunity for impact. It affords me the opportunity for revenue. It affords me the opportunity for travel. Right? It affords me the opportunity for new relationships and networking.
Coming from someone that makes friends online. Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, I used to be very. The fact I'm even having this conversation right now is, if it was 4 years ago, it would have been a miracle. We'll be saying, "Oh, man of God," because I'm not much of a talker.
Oh.
I try to just be by myself.
So this is basically the evolution phase,
Yeah,
and
so
I was graced with it. Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's something that doing Reels 101 has helped me with. It's something that Mobile Videographer has also helped me with because I get to meet new people. I have new experiences. So when I say new experiences, is that because I do a lot of different events.
Yeah.
From corporate to every kind of events, I get to see things that expose my mind to things that sitting in my house would have never exposed me to. So I have new experiences. My mind is expanding, and all that. So those are things that I feel like help me. It also offers me rest because I can decide that I'm busy tomorrow, I'm not busy next tomorrow, and all that stuff. So I think that's. So those are not two things. I've said like 6 or so.
Well, we like the gist here. I
The
mean,
low point will be maybe having to. I want to use the word compete, but not necessarily. That's not actually the term, but in terms of context, when you have to now compete with videographers.
you have to try to stand out
Not necessarily
amongst others.
No, not standing out. I mean, like
So
competing
compete
with.
in what sense?
You're in a space, in a workspace, right? There's this thing which is something I'm also trying to. There's this misconception, right? That mobile content creators are the underdogs, right? So if you go for an event or you go for a wedding and all that stuff, they treat them like they are the add-ons. So you have the main guys that are the photographers, you have the main guys that are the videographers, then you have these content creators that are like the attachments.
Yeah.
So they are placed in a very lowly
Standard.
on that ladder. But I feel like if a videographer is paid to do his job, if a photographer is paid to do his job, and a content creator is also paid to do his job,
Let everybody do
everybody's
their job.
paid.
Yeah.
So there's no nobody's the elder brother of the other person. Nobody's the oga of the other person.
True.
What I'm doing is different. What you're doing, what you're doing is different. What I'm doing.
Yes.
We're both paid. We're both professionals. So I shouldn't be treated like I'm the underdog.
Would you say that's the biggest challenge that you've had?
Well, it used to be a challenge, but I don't think it's a challenge for me because I don't even.
So, but like you would agree that it is a challenge for other upcoming.
Yeah, I think it's a general
videographers.
challenge in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are different factors too that I think that's helping to sort of push that narrative. Because I feel like it's high time that people that do this thing, people that are in this space, carry themselves as who they think they are.
Yeah, everybody should pay respect to everybody's
Everybody
craft.
should, yes. And you should also carry yourself in a way that people see you as someone that should be respected. Right? So in terms of how you appear, how you even behave, how you run your business, how you present your business, and all that stuff, the general branding and packaging and everything, you should do your best to look respectable.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I want you to look behind you at the portrait behind you.
Oh, okay. This is not a lot of
Look at it with an artistic eye.
Okay. All right.
Okay. What do you think?
Nice.
No, not just nice. I said with an artistic eye. What do
Well,
you think?
so so what do you want me to say?
What do you think about it?
I think it's nice, right? They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So
Hey, well. So it's not in your own eye.
it's in my eye. I have a couple of complaints if I was going to judge it by
Okay.
certain principles.
Yeah.
But then it's just principles.
So should I tell you
Creativity
the
is creativity is not bound by
idea behind
principles.
this?
Okay, yeah.
So first off, look at this. This is becoming a star show. Yes.
Yeah.
Becoming a star show, and then
In the
it's
city.
solely for Abuja creatives.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at that, that is not Abuja structure. It's not.
Abuja in like 20.
Yes,
2040.
this like division, right?
Yeah.
And then if we're telling creatives now to seep into the mindset of Lagosians, like
Yeah.
when it comes to when it comes to collaboration and all of that,
Yeah.
right? And then I think that's why the boss is there. But now telling Abuja people to do that, that's why it is now Abuja in Lagos clothing, and then this is our
yeah.
city. So now does that make sense to you?
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, from color of the bosses, makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I was happy that it wasn't yellow.
Okay. Love
Yeah.
it. Like it. Do you like
you.
it as much as I do?
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up the show, we're just going to play one very tiny.
I'm not going to
little game.
dance. I hope so.
We will not dance.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chineke me. We will not dance. It's just one very short thing I want to
Okay.
ask you.
All right.
Basically, a short game, this or that.
Okay.
And that's
good.
it.
That's fine.
Are you good?
Yeah. Rapid fire.
Yeah, you get that. Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather shoot reels or documentaries?
For the sake of evolution, documentaries,
Drone shots or handheld shots?
handheld,
Government event or private brand?
whoever pays better.
Teach creators or build quietly? I think we know the answer.
Yeah. I like to teach. I also, well, in a way, I also build character, but I also like to teach. So maybe
Okay.
both. Yeah.
Abuja's sun or Abuja's rain?
But I think rain. No. I'm not
Come
gonna
on, someone
lie.
that doesn't go out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think rain.
Okay. Planning shoots or catching moments?
Now. Catching moments.
Okay, so lastly, if you had one word for Abuja's creative, I want you to look in that camera, right? What would that
One
be?
word.
One word.
Okay, so I'll join two words together and make it one word.
Okay.
Consist excellence.
All right. That is the end of our session with
Djiame.
Djiame. You guys, I've never heard that name before. If you
Yeah.
have, please let us know in the comments because I'm
There's
really
also,
interested.
I've heard when people try to pronounce it, they either call me Djam, they call me Jamil, they call me Jamil, all manner of things. So,
What does
I mean,
Djiame mean?
So Djiame is short. Actually, it's a full name.
Okay.
It's Evesho Djiame.
Okay.
Djiame means God has done it. But when I was going to write my junior work in secondary school, the
Was
said
too
name was
long.
too long, so I had to divide it into two. So that's how Djiame
Djiame
stuck.
came
Yeah.
about. But it actually sounds like a French name.
Yeah, because I mean, there's this guy, I think President of Mali, yeah, Djiame, and stuff like that. So a lot of people just, yeah,
Okay.
Djiame.
So that's it with